Hi, this is Matthew. I'm going to talk about the next Beach Boys album in the middle of '64 called All Summer Long. Another song name album, but weirdly, it's not the first track, it's the second track. So they've changed that little trend. Of course, now the Beatles are around, and they've seen the Beatles perform, obviously, because they were on the Ed Sullivan Show in February of '64, and Brian Wilson's thinking, "Oh, we need to up our game and not just have people think we're a car and surf band." So he's trying to do that. It's the first time we don't really have that going on. It's just kind of a concept album about teenage life in Southern California in that time period. That they've all gone through that. Now they're all, I think, out of that age range primarily. So that's going on. He's trying to improve their vocal abilities as singers, which causes some tension in making of the album. There's a track that shows this in the album. They will also get rid of Murray, the dad. He will no longer be around. Being very unreasonable with things and demanding things and just trying to assert control, I think, over them. They had enough of him doing that nonsense, and so they get rid of him. They do have their first full tour. Since everybody's done with any kind of schooling now, they can now focus on a real tour, which they do, I think, here and in Australia, I want to say. I believe that's where they go. And there's a concert album to talk about as well. And some things like that going on with the band up to this stage. First, really trying to get good songs and strong songs, do some different instrumentation. I guess, improving the arrangements further. Yeah, it's a pretty darn good album. It did really well. It charted pretty well. Even though Capitol was focusing all their attention on the Beatles. And that also, people were screaming in their shows, too, which was like, you're not screaming for us, you're screaming for the Beatles, but the Beatles aren't here. We're here, not them. They're somewhere else. We're in front of you. That was kind of an issue, apparently, some of the time. But we'll go through the tracks here and do a few other things as well. Really good album, really very solid. Lots of hits here with everything. So really good new attempt at what's going to come. Really needs an album or two, really. Past one other thing, and Brian Wilson also was kind of producing some other people. None of that stuff worked, but he is making some more. Producing other people. And then also this is the last, these tours are kind of the last time he wants to tour for many, many, many years. I think he was more interested in focusing on writing and recording and arranging stuff, so he doesn't tour really past this stage here. We start with side one. We start with the great I Get Around. That leads the album off. Great track. Really catchy. Interesting note on the stereo version of the album, it's in fake duophonic stuff again. Arg. Yeah, this whole stereo mix in the album is really weird. It's the last true stereo mix that Brian Wilson actually kind of signs off on. It sounds weird. I don't quite know how to explain it. I don't know, it's very strange. But again, there's less tracks to work with still. A bit more, but it just seems a bit weird. Then we go to All Summer Long, which is the title of the album. Of course. There's a car here mentioned. They're sitting in a car, so there's a car in the song. Probably over 20 years ago, Sonic used this in one of their ads during the summer. I don't remember what the ad was about, but I remember the song in it. And of course I knew the song by then. But yeah, it's used, I forget what ad it was in, but it was used by Sonic. Oh, and our back to our writing people. We have that is by Mike Love and Brian Wilson doesn't give the writing credits here, but we assume it's Wilson and Love, I guess, unless they say otherwise. Mike Love and Brian Wilson's on harmony. It was over so long. I assume the same thing with Mike Love with the group. It says. Then we go to Hushabye, which is a cover. I think I can't what band it's covering. It's a really good cover though. Brian Wilson and Mike Love. Some neat drumming by Carl Wilson too. Kind of unique. And then Little Honda, which is a great tune. Mike Love on vocals. They didn't get a hit with it. It's a good version. The hit was with the Hondells. Brian Wilson remixed it for them. And it's a really nice track. Go check that version out. It's really good. Very solid. It's the first one I ever heard. I found this on a 3-disc collection. I got it for my birthday back in high school. I'm like, what the heck? Oh, cool. They didn't know they did it. But yeah, it was theirs first. But they, again, gave it to someone else to do. And they got a hit out of it, which they did not. But they tightened it up and did some different vocal things for those guys. There's an organ in it. It's really nice. Good drums on it. Nice solid track for those guys. I like it. And then We Run Away, which was really good. Brian Wilson and Gary Usher. This is the last time we see Gary Usher really for quite a number of years, 30 plus, I'd say. Brian Wilson on vocals. We have the track with Carl's Big Chance, which is the last every instrumental track we have. Carl is featured on guitar, so it's his last chance to shine, I guess. Kind of like Denny's drums, it's just mostly Carl, but there's at least the band on this one. Kind of neat instrumental track. Brian Wilson and Carl Wilson wrote that together, and it's the instrumental, so there's no one singing, of course. And then we jump to side 2. Wendy, which is a great hit, kind of about a breakup, or he doesn't realize when he's with another guy, and he's, not happy about that. Mike Love with the group, of course, and then we jump with, do you remember what he's talking about? Really about 8-year-old songs by now, like songs by Chuck Berry and all those early rock and roll and doo-wop and people remembering those, really, I guess, kind of looking farther out, but we're not that far out. About 8 years from a lot of them. I assume it's the same writers, but we have Love and Wilson doing vocals here. Good song. Girls on the Beach, which is I think a fairly good hit. Brian and Dennis Wilson doing vocals here. It was used in a movie called Girls on the Beach, which they lip sync to the song. It's mostly about the Beatles. I need to try to find this one. I might try to mention it. I will see if I can find it to watch. I might have to get it from Apple TV or something. Hopefully it wouldn't be too much. But they're in another movie in the next year, but we won't worry about that right now. But yeah, it's used there. I think some other song is used. What other song is used? Drive-In, which is about drive-ins and how to get into them without paying and just having fun in drive-ins. And seems Wilson and Love, I assume. Mike Love is on that one. There's some interesting lyrics here. Kind of cool. Our favorite recording sessions, which is just literally, unlike the other thing, this is actual like outtakes and mistakes and spontaneous stuff. Some disagreements with people. I mean, someone talked about throwing a mic across the room. And so I think Murray trying to get them to do things and missed vocals. It's interesting, but yeah, it definitely is more spontaneous. It's showing what's happening in the studio. There was definitely some tensions there. I forget. There's some other like where they actually have a cuss word for the first time on an album. In a frustration word. Nothing huge, but I forget what the context was, but none of the big 4-letter words are used, but yeah, there is some frustration. Interesting selection. Obviously, in the stereo thing, it's still in mono. I think it's about the only time it's not. I think everything else is true stereo. Brian Wilson, this one is Kramer Wilson. Yeah, all the people are in it, even Al Jardine. Audio variety, I think it's trying to say. It's only about a 2-minute track. It's pretty short, just some snippets of things. And then we end with Don't Back Down, which is kind of the last surfing song I think that they really kind of make, more or less. With Brian Wilson and Mike Love on vocals here. Love and Wilson, technically. But yeah, good track. Interesting stuff's happening. Things are good. Trying to mature, trying to change, be more introspective, more autobiographical in what they're talking about. So that's kind of interesting. And then, were there any other... Oh, more of the reissue bonus tracks from that CD reissue thing that we talked about before. So they should be the same, but we will double check them from before. I'll mention them anyway. We have... Oh, the Beach Radio School single version again with... I'll Dress Up for School again with... Little Honda, the alternate take of that one. That would be cool to hear, but I can't get to it. I wonder how different that one is. And that is all for that. And then we jump to... Oh, Don't Back Down, also take of Don't Back Down also. And I think that was everything. Again, more Mike Love not getting credit for things, getting credit for them in 94. So that must have been one heck of a trial case, because that must have taken forever. Oh, apparently, I guess he is credited on Little Honda. I'm not sure, but there's a Wikipedia note there that you might want to read if you feel like it. Personnel, mostly them, but there are some additional people credited on some tracks. There's some piccolos and some things going on in here, so. And there was like some kind of a set for this album. There's a sessions box or something. I've not found it to listen to. I never saw it at the time either, but I was looking in late 90s for box sets, so I never came across it. And most of them were so stupid expensive at the time, and I had no money as a high school kid, so I wasn't buying a ton of them. Bought a few in college, but Rock Jardine, harmony, backing vocal. Jardine is harmony, backing, and second tenor vocals there. From that, so. And some guitar of the bass guitar, electric rhythm guitar variety. Mike Love lead harmony, backing, bass vocals. Brian Wilson lead harmony, backing, and falsetto vocals and piano, electric piano, and harpsichord. Yes, there's a harpsichord. And I had V3 and a xylophone and marimba. Some of those aren't all summer long. Carl Wilson harmony, backing, and second tenor vocals, lead and rhythm guitars. Dennis Wilson lead harmony, backing, and baritone vocals, drums and brush drums, and percussion. So everyone's a lot busier on this one. I can't imagine when we get to Pet Sounds what it's going to look like. Oh, that's going to be interesting to try to parse through all that in about 3 albums or more. There was the opening voice on Little Honda, too, apparently. Oh, our session guys, which will be called the Wrecking Crew. I thought they were still called it at this point. Apparently they are not called that yet. So there might be some of the same people from last album. We'll double check them. Blaine, Tomatoes with brush, and Rim with thin stick and drums. Yeah, same people here. Now here's a fun one. Glenn Campbell. Yes, that Glenn Campbell. He was nobody yet. He had not done anything yet at this point. He was in the Wrecking Crew. 6-string electric bass guitar. So I see if you could spot him if you know how he plays. You might be able to find him, at least a young version of himself. He doesn't get promised that I know of until 68. So he's got a few years just gigging around doing session work at this point, just on guitar here. We'll see. He does keep staying with them, so we'll see what else he plays on, because I know he tours with them later and is involved with them in different times. So watch out for Glenn. He is still around later, so Here's the first time we get to see him play anything. Steve Douglas, tenor saxophone. Jim McLeary, saxophone, and piccolo fife. Oh, that's fun. Fifes are neat. I like fifes. He gets to play that too. Rick Pullman, 6-string electric bass guitar again. That's all those guys, but I think they'll get more involved as we go along here. We'll keep seeing their names pop up, so watch out for them. They'll keep showing up. Glenn Campbell especially shows up, so yeah, fun things to look for. Bob, surname unknown for Girls on the Beach. We don't know who Bob is. Good job, Bob, with your engineering work, whoever you are. Chuck Brett's engineer, I guess, for all of it. And that's it. Nobody else, even though Brian Wilson is the main producer, he's not mentioned in the stuff I can get to. That's that album. It's very good, very interesting. Things are changing and evolving and stuff. Much like the Beatles were doing, he felt this was his first time he really could think he was with Phil Spector and the Beatles as far as a level playing field and being able to kind of compete with them. There had been some competition with the Four Seasons before the Beatles, but the Beatles, they kind of had an informal rivalry, and they, of course, do meet each other later. I'm not sure when. They also get to premiere on the Ed Sullivan Show in September, so they both premiere in the same year on there. I forget which songs they did. I don't think it says in this article. I looked it up. I forget what they were now. They were things from this album. I feel Windy is one, and I can't think what the other one was, but I don't know if it was All Summer Long. I forget which ones, but there were two. I'd like to find it. I'm not sure where I can find it easily, but YouTube I can maybe find it. I don't know. But I think they were only on like twice. I think the other time was in '68, so they don't on it very much. So you could maybe put out those episodes in a set with all the other people that were on the show at those dates. And then Capitol did a weird thingy where they decided, hey, let's make an EP of 4 songs from All Summer Long and call it 4 by the Beach Boys. I don't know why, but they did. It does nothing. I will talk about the songs on it, though. I can't find it, but obviously there's no difference. I assume they're mono and stereo, but I don't know. But this definitely was both. There's both versions of it, but we'll briefly mention that listing here, just because I can find it. We have the following 4 tracks. As soon as I close my web browsers down and everything is not where I left it. Let me go find it really quickly. Okay, here we go. Okay. We have, side 1 had Windy and Don't Back Down, and then side 2 was Little Honda and Hushabye. Good songs. That's not a bad song choice to back what would be a fancy 45 with 2 songs on each side. Yeah, that's all that was. It did not really do anything per se. Does anyone even have this thing? Did anyone have it in their collection? By the rare chance. I don't know how well you could even find this. Why you would want it, I don't know, but I guess if you do someone that only collected 45s or short albums, maybe that would be a thing to give them. I don't know, but that's that. But honestly, way more interesting, they put out a concert album just called Beach Boys Concert. It was a concert in, I forget where. It's in California. There's an expanded version later, which by then I'll probably remember where this was. Let's see if it tells me in this article again. I think it does. Let me double check myself. Let me double check where this was at again. The Sacramento Live Auditorium is where this was. And it did a lot of production treatment, but this is the only time we get to see the original lineup, because Brian Wilson will not tour really for decades after this. So if you want that original lineup, go listen to this. It is kind of a cool thing to hear. There are lots of, again, screaming girls, for whatever reason, who think they're the Beatles. I don't know. They're very loud. They're very in there, and they probably had to add things to kind of do it. It's weird because, yeah, you get reverb from the show, but I feel they've added reverb to this thing, and I only have a stereo version on Apple Music to check, but it's bizarre. I don't know if it's on headphones or what, but for some odd reason, I didn't check with regular because I'm here at work. So I just was scanning through it briefly while I waited for the people to read all the awesome local articles from the newspapers. I did a quick check to see what it sounded like. I heard it years ago, 3 or 4 years back. I think I was going through early Beach Boys live stuff. And all of the vocals are on the right, or left, I should say. You have a little bit of stuff on the right, instrumental-wise, but most things are on the right side, or left side of your field of stereo vision, as you might call it. It's very weird. I don't know why nothing is spread out, but everybody is just shoved over on the left. Most of the instruments are on the right. Definitely the drums are. Screaming girls are on both sides of you. So it's a very weird presentation. I don't know why it was done this way, but it's very high energy. Really nice to hear them live early on. Really only about 2 years later since they started, but it's the first time they really could go tour. They did make mention of being there before. Obviously, being California, I would think that would be a place you would want to go. One of the big places to go play. So they mentioned being there before and playing songs here before. So they are familiar with the venue at this point. But it's the longest album we've had so far as tracks go. Yeah, he's very, of course, what happens to Brian Wilson later, too, it's, a good place to hear him actually with them when he's kind of still kind of there mentally, as it were, and with no illness happening. And there's a Live at Sacramento 1964, which has additional stuff on it, which I know that is available too. So you might go look up just Beach Boys concert and then just put in Live at Sacramento on the streaming services. You should be able to find them. There's additional stuff here, but this is pretty good. Pretty nice document of what they were doing at this point. And there are some things that they have performed but have never put on an album. So there are about 2 or 3 songs you might want to grab this to hear, just to hear them do them, because it's fun. They're kind of unusual things. And there was a Pickwick Records version just called Wow, Great Concert, Beach Boys Concert. I don't know what that looks like. I don't have that available. So if you're looking at used vinyl, you might come across that one too. You might check it out. Let me know if you've seen it, what's on it. There's no link to it. The label is linked, but there's no link to the album, so I don't know what's on it. It must be a little bit shorter. Apparently, when they did a reissue of it in 01 and stuff, they pair it with they pair it with something called Live in London. So there are some bonus tracks, but I guess because there's such shorter concerts back then, you only played about 20 minutes or 25 minutes or something. It was very, very quick. You didn't play very long. You usually had other people with you, but you just didn't. Back then, people just did not play very long. So, because of that, they put another concert on the back of the disc on CD. We have the following, though. It's very fun. Well, I'm guessing it's two sides. I don't know if will be a double or not. We'll double check and see. Because there's about, I don't know, 14, 15 songs on here, I think. So the longest track-wise, but it's live. So we'll see if it's one or two records long. We start with Fun, Fun, Fun. That opens it up. The Little Old Lady from Pasadena. Yeah, the Jenna Dean song. They do it here. The only one that helps with it is Roger Christian. So I guess that ties it to them, but no Beach Boys credited on this, but Roger Christian is that guy who they helped do some songs with. It's a nice version. I do like Jane and Dean's, but this is a cool one to hear them doing a cover of it, basically. They did. I know Brian Wilson did help them with some songs and things too. So there's a correlation. So nice tribute. It is a great song anyway. Just go hear this one. Go hear Jane and Dean's if you haven't heard that forever or in a long time. So I like this song. Little Deuce Coupe is next. Long Tall Texan, which is a cover. I think it's a country song. I don't know the original. It's credited to Henry Zletsky or something. I don't know if he wrote. I've never heard that version, so I don't know who it is. But it's fun to hear. In My Room is next, which is great. It does sound really good, actually. You can, even though they're shoved over to the left side, but you can hear them okay. Here's a fun one. Monster Mash. Yes, Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Keeper 5 song is covered by the Beach Boys, and Mike Love is doing the, I was working the lab late one night Dracula voice. It's hilarious. I love it. It's in about 3 or 4 albums on Apple Music, and it's just hilarious. Apparently they put a green light on his face and everything. So I wonder if there's any filmed footage of this in color or black and white. Let me know. Does he look very ghoulish? But it's a fun cover. It's tongue-in-cheek, but I just think it's great that they were actually covering Monster Mash, of all things, which I think came out in 1962, I think. And it was in October when they did this show, so it makes sense. It's weird and random, but it's funny. It's just like, no way. And I love it. It's a fun thing to hear them covering this. Let's Go Trippin' was the instrumental, which they had the crowd do Let's Go Trippin'. That was on an earlier album. They did that one earlier. It's the instrumental, of course. That is side 1. Side 2 then goes with the Great Papa Oom Mau, which the Rivingtons, I believe, is the group. I like both versions. Theirs is much faster than the original, and there's some really nice harmonies on this. It's really cool. I have played it a time or two just because I just want to hear that. There's so much energy in this concert. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. This is a fun one. It's also used in E.T. The Rivingtons version is in E.T. They mentioned, they even say Papa Oom but it's like when he's going out when the dog's barking and E.T. shows up. They go out to the outside of the house. They're playing in the house in E.T. So random correlation, but yeah, I do like this cover. Then The Wanderer, which is that Dion song, which I believe was Dennis Wilson on vocals here, which is weird because he's the only time you hear him do anything. But it's a good version. Hawaii is next. There's some really nice Carl Wilson drums here. They're all on the right side. They're very audible. They're not buried or anything. Again, they're all on the right side. They're not spread out or anything. It's just your early for your not even 4-track stereo. It might have been 4-track, but nice drums. And then Graduation Day, which is the For Freshmen song, which Brian Wilson was very influenced by. It's a nice version. Go listen to it. It's nice. There's some good harmonies here. I think I've heard the original at some point. You might compare it. I think the harmonies are very similar. And weirdly, on the next album, we will get a Four Freshmen tie-in. I won't spoil that just yet. But they creep up again in studio form. Well, their arranger does. He shows up for some string arrangements, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it's a nice version. Then I Get Around is next. And then an encore. Johnny Be Good, that Chuck Berry. This thing is super fast. And he goes, hey, do you want to hear anything else? And here they are again. And they make a joke about, we better, before they kick us out, we want to do one or more songs. So there's some funny humor in some of this concert. Yeah, really, really nice version. And we had some bonus tracks from that Live in London, where they squashed 2 albums on one disc thing. We have Don't Worry Baby, Heroes and Villains, that Live in London is much later. Yeah, that's available to stream, I think. That's the Heroes and Villains is like a 70s tune. And that is it. Our live people, though, Mike Love was on vocals and saxophone. I think Long Tall Texan and Let's Go Trippin'. So he gets to play sax here too. Jardine vocals, rhythm guitar, and bass guitar. I think on The Wanderer. Oh, what's the one where they do? There's a thing where they kind of. Oh, it's Little Deuce Coupe. They kind of show how they make a song, and they start all the individuals and they put the vocals in and then they do it. So that's kind of fun. As a side note. Ben Wilson vocals, bass guitar, and drums on The Wanderer. Because Dennis is singing. Okay, so he's not playing the drums. Ringo, I know I've seen him play Act Naturally, drumming and singing. I have seen that footage when I had better vision. But Brian Wilson drums instead of Dennis, so he can go, I guess, concentrate on singing and not try to play drums. But some drummers can do both, but not everybody can. So, and he is still pretty young. Still. Carl Wilson vocals and lead guitar. There's Wilson drums and lead vocals on The Wanderer. There it is. Nobody else is mentioned for. They didn't bring anybody along, so you didn't tend to back then anyway. Most people would just either you were the band, or if you were a singer, you had other people come and play for you, studio guys and live guys that did that kind of thing. But they were all capable of doing it themselves, so they don't need anybody. Yeah. But yeah, if you want to hear that original lineup, this is the way to do that, because Brian doesn't really do her after this. But obviously things were happening to him that I'm assuming we'll probably get into later. But yeah, very enjoyable concert. It's a nice early document of them live, high energy. You have those screaming girls, of course, because it's Beatlemania, and just people tended to scream at concerts back then. Even the Stones had some. I don't know about the Who, but the Stones did. Beatles did. They did. Others I know have even earlier than that. I know there was one gig on this tour. They played about 15 minutes and had to just cancel it because people were just getting unruly, I guess, and kind of rowdy. So they had to stop playing. I don't know which one it is now, but that's mentioned in the article for All Summer Long. If you want to check that out, there's some kind of overview of that stuff going on. But there's some disruption of fans, so they can't play the whole show, which is sad. I guess I couldn't get them under control. Sometimes you can get them under control and you can keep playing. You'd be delayed a few minutes. But yeah, that's that one. Now we will jump into interesting territory, which I haven't gotten to do before. There's a Christmas album coming up. Yes, indeed. It is the Beach Boys Christmas album, which is in a couple of configurations. That one, there's a mono and stereo. The one I have, which is the one they feature on Apple Music first. You can go get the other ones. It is a 91 remixed album. You have that album with a couple alternate takes of Little Saint Nick, and then the 70s stuff, which I'm not going to go... I won't do this album, probably. And then a couple of, ads for like Toys for Tots and things. And the single version Little St. Nick is there too. But what I'll probably do is that original album, mono and stereo, I will hit the things on this version that are vintage. And then at some point, I guess I will hit it again when we hit that 70s period, if I can figure out what that album is called. I don't think it's available in any other configuration, so I'll have to use this figure. It's a good one to have. That's one of the first Christmas albums I ever bought. This one, and now it's what I call Christmas. I got that at the same time, I think, for my birthday, I believe, in college, I think. I'd wanted these, and yeah. But we'll get to Christmas next. It will be, it's January 1st now of 2026, so it'll be January 2nd, so it's slightly out of season, but that's okay. We're close. But we will talk about a Christmas album next, and I think there will be a compilation album to mention. I think I have it on vinyl, but I'm not going to be able to dig it out in time to check it, but there are duophonic and real and fake stereo versions of things on that one. But the Christmas one is all stereo, I'm pretty sure. It will be all new material. Well, some new material and some obviously like covers of standards and old traditional and modern songs. But we'll get to a Christmas album next time on January 2nd, tomorrow, hopefully. And I will see you guys in that other next video.